Hey everybody, this is Wade Jennings. This is another great episode of ETX Rocks featuring the Hill Country Revival.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks, ETX rocks.
Hey guys, you are tuned into the #1 resource for independent music in Northeast Texas, the ETX ROCKS Show. And you're tuned into episode 273 live from the ETX ROCKS living room. And we're stoked to have Hill Country Revival here with us today, or at least half of them. We have Lance and Colton here. You guys did bring your instruments with you, so you're going to play a couple of songs for us. Tell us a little bit about the first song. This is called That's What I Think Too, right?
Yeah, That's What I Think Too is a song we released last October, right?
Yeah, it would have been in October when we were out playing Georgia.
Yeah, we released it last October. We pushed it for our first single to go to the Texas country charts and made it all the way up into the 70s.
Yeah. And all self-promoted, too.
Yeah. All in-house.
That's awesome. So for the first time here on the show, we have Hill Country Revival. This is completely unplugged. We're excited to show you, this was y'all's debut single, too, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
It's called That's What I Think Too, live here in the living room. Y'all check it out.
Walking out the door, there was nothing you could say. So you stood there at the window and watched her drive away. It don't seem like you did nice. Suddenly it turned blue. Do you think this time she's gone for good? Well, that's what I think too. Across the tracks, that train is too far gone. But if you never think about it, it won't ever leave you blue. Do you think this time she's gone for good? Well, that's what I think too. What I think too. Do you think this time she's gone for good?
All right, we are back. Great song. You can see why the song did so well on the charts here in Texas. Really, really swampy, too, with that slide guitar. Now, you were saying a friend of yours wrote that song, right?
Yes, sir. Billy Eli.
Very cool.
So, and we've done some other stuff with him as well. So our little CD that we brought you in today, it's got several of his songs on there.
Cool. And so both of these guys actually are like me, not from Texas. So I definitely want to talk about that. One of y'all's from Montana, the other is from Georgia, right?
Yes.
So how did y'all meet?
I met Lance in Georgia here about what?
2012, 13.
Yeah, something like that.
somewhere
About 5 or 6 years ago. I was born and raised in eastern Montana. Played in bands since, I think I had my first paying bar gig when I was like 16 years old, and did that when I turned 21. It was kind of one of those things where like I wanted to go out and pursue it. So I had a buddy that was in and out of Atlanta, and I just kind of packed up my stuff and I moved to Georgia, to Macon, where he's from, about an hour south of Atlanta. And it's huge on Southern rock, Leonard Skinner,
right.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Capricorn Records was in Macon there.
Okay.
So it's the home of Southern rock, and that's what I dig. I mean, I'm from Montana, but I grew up learning Leonard Skinner and stuff
That's
like
funny.
that.
So you're from Montana, you end up in Georgia, and now you're in Texas.
Yeah.
So almost like a triangle. So
Yeah.
far, right?
Yeah.
So how does your style differ now than it did when y'all were kind of hitting the clubs and stuff in Georgia?
I would say we were playing probably more so kind of mainstream Southern rock or country or whatever. We were doing a lot more covers than what we try to do now. We're trying to get more originals in there. So if we can do showcase gigs, that's where we really like it. That's where we can really shine.
Getting those opening gigs, that's been really fun, man. We've opened for guys like Dallas Moore,
Corey Morrow,
Brandon Ryder,
cool
stuff like that. So getting to play those shows, it's like we just took a step up,
Right.
And it's a lot. It's fun.
And every one of those steps is important too,
Yeah.
No matter how small of a step it is, I mean, everything, as long as you're going upward and not downward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just building it and watching it, because like I say, we're mainly independent, so it's just doing all this stuff on our own makes it, when you do make it up to that next step, it's that much more gratifying, Yeah.
You guys are in the Dripping Springs area of Texas, Central Texas, and huge music festival out there every year. So the music scene out there is ridiculously good. I know that as well. Obviously, I know Hill Country, but where'd the revival part of the name come from?
We had a group text going on, and pretty much we were just throwing out there anything and everything, and
we had a gig before we actually had a band name.
Yeah.
So it was like,
So what'd you put on the marquee? Just blank?
Well, that's what they needed. They're like they have to have a name by today. It was like a week before the show to put on the marquee. It was down in San Antonio.
And I think I heard him say, "Man, I really like the word revival, whatever, if we could include that." And like one of us, I think, throughout Hill Country Revival, it may have been me, I can't remember, but Hill Country Revival, and it just kind of stuck, so we just went with it. And
so the
it's
word
turned into a
revival
band
came
now for over a year.
instead
So
of Hill Country. See, I was envisioning it being reversed of that.
Really? Yeah,
Like,
Hill
okay,
Country.
we're in the Hill Country, so let's just come up with a word to put at the end of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys came up with revival first.
Yeah.
Shows you what I know. So, I think what's cool about Colton, guys, is he grew up on a hops farm. Or a barley farm.
Barley
farm.
and wheat and sugar beets. Actually.
And so it's very possible that everybody out there watching has probably had a beer that had something to do with his farm.
Yeah.
Because a pretty major farm, right?
Yeah. My dad, I'm going to tell this story. He hates it because he's such a humble guy. But he was actually a Coors Barley Grower of the Year in like 2007 or 2008.
Wow.
So when I introduced him to my friends, I'm like, hey, this is my dad. He was Coors Barley Grower of the Year, and he's like, shut up, He's super humble about it. He's got the belt buckle that he won and all this stuff.
Man.
And
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a good chance that if you guys drink Coors Light or Coors, any Coors product, you've probably drank something that came off our farm. So.
Wow, that's awesome. So why Georgia? What was the draw for that?
Man, it was good as any place, It was just I just needed to change,
I imagine Montana is pretty not much to do out there.
No, it's desolate, man. I mean,
yeah,
hunting and fishing, and that's about it.
So was the idea okay, Atlanta seems like a good place? But,
Yeah.
I mean, you ended up in Macon.
Yeah.
It's not exactly Atlanta.
No, it's about an hour south of Atlanta. So I don't think I could have moved from my little hometown of 3,000 people directly into Atlanta.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it would have been too much of a culture shock.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and I mean, sometimes it still is. You know, like going into Dallas, I'm just like, wow. You know, when I turn back into that farm kid, it's just like kind of becomes unfathomable sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And so, what did you grow up kind of being around? Were you around music a lot as well?
I grew up. My parents weren't involved in music or anything. I mean, as a kid, I mean, I like constantly like listened to the radio and stuff. And you know, my parents, my dad, you know, I remember he had a cassette collection in the little suitcase, and then it went to CDs. And
I remember those little cassette holders.
you know, just 90s country, like you know, Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson, all those guys, and just kind of grew up listening to all that. And then, and I guess I was about 15. I took interest in playing guitar, and my mom, she wasn't sure that, you know, because when you're a kid, like, is this a thing for the week or the month, and then it's going to be gone? So she bought me a cheap guitar and started playing, and finally, after about 5 years of playing, I finally started kind of getting into playing bars and playing open mics and stuff, and then all really through networking, which is kind of in essence how we all came together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my band at the time, we were looking for a guitar player, and I'd heard that he had just moved into town. I didn't know him or anything, so we went out, all three of us, the bass player and drummer that I was playing with at the time, and so we're going out and we're like checking out the guitar player, like, and I think he probably picked up the vibe, like, who are these guys and why are they watching me?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was like,
and then I approached him like during the break. I was like, "Hey, we're looking for a guitar player. You know, I heard you just moved into town. You know,
It's almost like dating.
Yeah, it really is.
man, the references between bands and marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the same. It's like being in a band is like being married to three other guys. You know what I mean? We all have to make our little compromises. We have to say, "I'm sorry, dude, you were right." You know.
It's funny too because the other half of the band that's not here, Dean and Dave, they laugh at me and Colton because me and him, we've been friends now for 5 or 6 years. Some days it seems like 10.
Yeah.
We always joke because mine and his friendship survived my marriage.
Wow.
But I was like me and Colton, we always bicker at each other. It's like we're the married couple of the band.
Not only that, but it survived a move across the country.
Yeah.
For
You
sure.
know, I think that's pretty neat. You know, I was reading y'all's bio, and it said Colton and Lance moved from Georgia to Texas, and I was like, okay, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, I've been wanting to move out for years, and since I've been playing in bars and stuff, I'd considered, you know, moving to Nashville. I considered moving out here, and finally one day he asked me about moving. I was like, yeah, sure. So,
Why Texas? What was the choice there?
I like the music. You know what I mean? It's a little more unfiltered. You know, than Nashville. It's just you're kind of free to do what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier, the red dirt or the Texas country thing or whatever. It's so broad. There's not just one sound. You know.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned the music in Texas. You know, the rock, the country, all the different subgenres. I've heard a little bit about the music scene in Georgia, and I know it's very similar to what we do here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know, we've had several different artists from the Georgia, Atlanta. I'm not sure if we've had anybody from Macon, but I know we've had quite a few from the Atlanta area on the show. And they talk about the music scene over there being similar because there was a lot of southern rock, a lot of country music.
For sure.
But the one thing that I think is missing there is kind of the infrastructure of charting in all these different, you know, studios and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
To where you can have the freedom to get your music heard on a different level.
Yeah.
Was that part of the decision in coming here, or was it?
Man, until we released a single, I had no idea how radio worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
we're still learning this stuff all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. This is we always say it's like as far as any of us have been at this level, you know, and we're constantly learning and everything. So
Number 77 for the debut single.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite an accomplishment. So when you guys are seeing that and watching it climb, and you see all of these other names around you on that chart, you know, you mentioned Brandon Ryder earlier. Folks like that, you know,
Yeah.
that are sitting there on the same chart as you. Is that really eye-opening for y'all?
yeah, it really is. I mean, like constantly like watching it, you know, move up and down because I mean it would go up some weeks, it would come back down,
Right.
then
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
go up again.
Is that frustrating for y'all?
Not so much. I mean, really, I mean, I've just taken it in stride. I mean, like, just for me, like, I remember having a really bad day, and, like, my mom called me, and, like, I hadn't even looked at the charts, and she called me back home from Georgia, and she's like, hey, I was just going to let you know your singles at this week. And I was like, really? And, like, turned my whole day, like, being a bad day into a great day, so.
It's humbling, man. I think more than anything, getting to do, you know, these bigger opening gigs and getting on the radio and stuff has been humbling for me. It's been very humbling.
And you did do a radio tour as part of that single as well. Mm-hmm. So putting a lot of miles in across Texas doing that. What's that like as a musician? And I imagine you guys have probably regular jobs and stuff like that as well. So how do you balance all of that together?
Really good relationships with our bosses,
and,
I would say.
And we never sleep. We, I mean, a lot of times it's taking off Friday to get to a gig in Dallas or Midland, Houston, whatever. Getting home late or staying in a hotel, man. We're on the go a lot. It's me driving during the day so that Lance can sleep, and then so Lance can drive after the show at night when the rest of us are sleeping, trying to get home, kind of thing. You know, it's pure insanity, actually. But you know,
well, for you folks that are watching out there, and if you don't know anything about Texas, we're actually located in Longview, Texas, which is an extreme northeast Texas, almost into Louisiana. These guys are from Central Texas, which is like 6 hours from here.
Yeah.
So first of all, I definitely want to thank you guys for the time and effort to come out here and visit with us.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having us.
Colton was telling us before we started filming, you guys have been in Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio within the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And then you come here to Longview, which is near none of those places if you're not from Texas. I say a lot of times on the show that sometimes we feel like we're on an island out here in East Texas. Because we have all this talent in the state. We want to talk to them all, but it's hard to get you all through here. So definitely appreciate the time it took for y'all to come out here today.
Absolutely.
Very talented guys. We wanted to have them on. As soon as I heard the single, that's what I think too. I had to have you guys on the show. And you guys are going to hear the next single a little bit later in the show. And I'm going to tell you, this song is actually better than the first one. I don't know how that's possible. Like the first song they played today was the new single that's coming up. And just blew our minds here in the living room. So we're excited to show you all that. What is the writing process like for you guys as a band? Do you incorporate all four members, or is there one or two of y'all that kind of take the lead on that?
Me and Colton, we live together. We're roommates, so we bounce ideas off each other, you know, weekly on a regular basis. We did a group write, not with Dave, our drummer, but with Dean, our bass player, and me and Colton and another friend of ours. We did a group write.
With Kelly Canning.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or so.
It's down in South Texas, down in Alice, and just got together with him, man. Sat around the table, threw some ideas around. You know, had some beers and had fun with it. You know what I mean?
So, now you guys are in South Texas. So
yeah. Dude, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Man. We are. I mean, I think we're going out to Midland next month. We'll be up in Oklahoma here soon. I think Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
New Mexico.
Yeah, we're going out to New Mexico. So
my dad was actually texting me today because he thought I was still in Dallas because that's where we played Friday.
Yeah.
And we drove back from Dallas Friday night. Then we drove to San Antonio last night, drove back home, and then drove out here today. So he still thought we were in Dallas. So.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
it's
Does it get old?
You know what? I was tired this morning, and then as soon we got on like Highway 79 from Taylor, just above Round Rocks. How we came out here, and it was just like. Once we hit that open road country, you know what I mean, we were off I-35, and if you guys don't know, I-35 is like a parking lot most of the time, you know.
Yeah.
So just to get on these country roads and just, it was free, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It was just driving past farms and ranches and stuff like that, and that's what I like about this, you know, being on the go a lot, you know, meeting new people, going to new places, seeing new things.
It's going to be better than standing still, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And I enjoy driving too, so that definitely helps.
I'm there with you. I don't ever let someone else have my wheel. I'm curious if it's like a control thing. Like a psychologist would probably love me, boy. You know?
Colton did teach me a rule. We don't always go by it, but he taught me a rule. Back when we were still living in Georgia, we drove up to Atlanta one day just to hang out on a Sunday afternoon. We weren't doing anything. We just went up there exploring Atlanta, and because he hadn't really spent much time there. And he's like, I said, well, which way are we going back? And he's like, well, we'll go down this way. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, we're not going to go back the way we came. He's like, no, take new roads, man. I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
So you see, that's the way you see the most out of. You get the most out of it. You know, I mean, we'll go home a different way than we came up.
Yep.
You know, even if it's a little bit longer.
It's
just
funny because, you know, I've driven, and this is something I've never mentioned on the show before, but I have driven from Texas to Massachusetts or vice versa over 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
And each time I went a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 1,800 miles, I think, something like that, and it
Yeah.
takes about a day and a half if you take a 3-hour nap somewhere in
Yeah.
between.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I always went a different way, and now that I'm in Texas and we're in East Texas, which makes it even worse, it's hard to find different ways sometimes. You know, because we're back and forth to my producer's house in Golden, which is about an hour from here, and there's legitimately maybe 3 different ways you can go. And I'm just burnt out on those 3 different ways that you can go.
Mm-hmm. Change is always good, man.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. It's important, too, because you do the same thing every time. You get that muscle memory going on, and next thing you know, you don't remember doing the trip. And that can be scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how did I get here? I don't even remember driving this. Because you've done it so often.
Yeah,
it's like when I used to take my kids to school every morning, you know?
Yeah.
You can do it on cruise control almost, you know? Which is not good. Because that means you're not thinking, you know? So one thing I think is cool about Lance is you actually grew up wanting to be a NASCAR driver.
I do.
And it was because of a race that you changed all of that.
Yeah.
You saw something at a race that made you want to go into music instead.
It was, I went to, my parents had tickets. When growing up, our destination for family vacation was most of the time Daytona Beach, Florida, which is actually, Drove Me Anywhere, the song we played, is written about being in that town and a girl driving you around in that town.
Okay.
But how it came to be was we went down. It was around the time that they had the summer race there, and like the week before they were having a concert, and so we went to the concert, and it was just kind of like seeing everybody perform, all the different artists. I was just like really captivated by music at that point, and after that was soon after when my mom bought me my first guitar. So
That's awesome. It's kind of like that old saying, I went to a hockey game when a boxing match broke out, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be a race car driver. I go to a race and I come home wanting to be a musician.
Right. Yeah.
Like, how does that work, you know?
I've always wanted to race. I still do to this day. I mean, at some point, you know, if I ever get some money together, I'll maybe pursue that avenue a little bit as a hobby. But
All of his references are to NASCAR. Like when he was coming out here, he's like, man, I feel like when we're out on the highway driving 75, like I'm like, you know, driving the straightaways. But then when we come into the small towns and have to slow down to 45, like I feel like I'm going down pit road. Like you can't go faster than 45. I'm like making all these NASCAR references, and it's like none of it makes any sense to me.
yeah,
Okay.
Colton's just like,
When he's watching the race, I'm like, dude, just tell me when a wreck comes on. You know what I mean? So I'll just
If
say,
there's
Colton,
fire
there's
or
a wreck.
something.
Yeah.
When there's something exciting, otherwise it's just people driving in a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
He caught me one day snoozing during a race. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Did you get that on camera?
He did.
I
He
think so.
He posted it. He said, watch NASCAR. It was fun.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I remember
passed out
that.
asleep
Yeah.
watching the race.
I remember
That's
that
when you
now.
try to get him in a lie first, you know?
Yeah.
And then post
Dude,
it
were you
afterwards.
sleeping, dude? No.
So how was the race? Oh, it was captivating. Energizing. You know? Then you just post the quote of him saying that with the picture of him sleeping in front of the TV. You know, with flames all over the TV or something. You know, and they have mentioned the two guys that aren't here today, Dave and Dean.
Mm-hmm.
So what do these guys bring to the band dynamic?
Let me say it like this. Dave, our drummer, so most of the time, drummers use a metronome to keep time.
Mm-hmm.
Metronomes use Dave to keep time. That's how good he is.
Wow.
So, I mean, Dave brings it together, man. He's a hard hitter and just, I mean, really amazing drummer. I don't want to play with any other drummers now. You know what I mean? Dean does a lot of this behind the scenes stuff. You know, he's like our manager, booking agent, radio promoter, all that stuff. Yeah, and he does it very well. He is so in tune on the business end of this, and if there's something that he doesn't know, like he goes out and learns it. So he really does. He takes the time, and you know, it's those things that people don't realize what make a band flourish is promoting and stuff like that, all
And
that.
it just seems to me like from an outsider's perspective, you guys are like a well-oiled machine. I mean, I've seen kind of all of these different hands all working on the same product for y'all, but it's not the same guy doing every little job within the band, whether it's songwriting or promoting or studio work, whatever it is. You guys all seem like you're wanting the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
How important is that?
It's really important, man. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, Colton can probably tell you too. I mean, like just the different bands we've played in throughout the years. It's hard getting 4 people all on the same page. Like, let's go this way. It's like in other bands, it's kind of like, I want to go this way. This guy wants to go. You know, it's just everywhere. You know, and it's really hard to just get 4 individuals to say, let's do this and do it the best we can. So.
And guys that are willing to, do the hard work. 'Cause, I mean, it really is. It's hard work, dude. Being gone all the time. You know, being away from your family. You know, stuff like that. You know, I've missed a lot of things for the band. You know, we all have. We all make sacrifices. I've missed weddings. I've missed funerals. I've missed, all sorts of things. You know, made that sacrifice for this, and we all have. You know, we all make our own sacrifice to do this because we know it's going to pay off. You know.
Yeah.
And I've done some research on you guys, and I think it's, as a fan of music, it's always cool to find out what somebody's inspirations and stuff like that are, because every artist has a different set of those, and so because of that, every artist has their own unique identity. And so as a band, when you have 4 members in a band, you have 4 completely individual folks in that band.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm reading about the influences of y'all 4, and it's crazy the diverse spectrum that you guys all have, like punk music, metal, there's Latin stuff. So how does that work on the band dynamic? Is there a lot of that kind of brought into the equation?
I think sometimes you could probably maybe hear it sometimes in our writing,
Yeah.
to some extent. You know,
There's
maybe.
Musicians are I guess we're a product of our influence, I guess. You know, you can have, if I sit down and I listen to one specific guitar player or artist for a long period of time, that's going to start to kind of show through you, and it's not, when I was younger, I would want to play like this guitar player, that guitar player, you know what I mean? And you focus and you study it and you make it happen, but then as you get older and get better, that's a lot of times that stuff just naturally kind of flows out of you. You know what I mean? If I was listening to something on the radio and then...
And you don't even realize
it. Exactly, yeah.
And I think it's cool that could happen 4 different ways here.
Because,
you guys, very, very diverse influences. I think, is it Dean that speaks Spanish as well?
Yeah. He lived in Matamoros for a couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'm reading about Dean's influences. It says rock and roll, punk rock, country, and even classical. And he's done studio work, many local bands. He speaks Spanish, so all of that stuff. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
As a fan, it's always cool to hear why things sound the way they do. Especially from a bass player. He's got to be groovy as heck with that set of influences.
Yeah, he said he played with a punk band one time, and they I'll tell you the story because he ain't here to tell it.
Yeah.
They were a punk band. They were opening up for Billy Idol, like out in Vegas or California or something. And this is funny because this happens to Dean a lot. He said, they're playing in front of all these people, and he's getting into it, and he steps on his cord, and it comes undone from his bass, in front of all these people,
Wow.
and he's like, and that's Dean, you know what I mean? It's just kind of goofy when he's on
Nobody
stage
notices,
there,
right? Yeah. It's funny. I've seen that happen, and the bass player will just be like,
it's really weird, and people don't understand the importance of a good bass player and a good drummer.
Oh my God,
how much
yeah.
it locks it together. It went, I've seen Dean's done that when we've played before, where he stepped on his cable and his bass came undone or something, and right away when it's not there.
Oh, yeah.
It loses its, Dean and Dave.
Yeah, I was one of those people originally that didn't really understand the bass, how important a bass was.
Yeah.
Until my fiance pointed it out, like, okay, just try to focus on nothing else but that bass.
Yeah.
And now I know when someone's bad at playing bass.
Yeah.
You know, but there was a lot of years where I could watch a live band and not even hear that instrument, which is weird. But now it's one of the first things I pick up.
Yeah.
It's definitely grown on me over the years because actually, after we moved out here, I picked up and started playing bass just so I could network and get some experience, you know, playing in bands and stuff. And I'd never played bass until I moved out here. And like I remember one time, my bass player back home in Georgia, he was like, "What do you think of my bass?" I was like, "Sounds like bass." You know, I didn't have that appreciation for the instrument, and then once I started playing, I was like really honed in. Like, it's a big part of it. You know,
Right.
you gain a whole new appreciation of it.
And a song isn't a song without that groove, man.
No.
Yeah. And being in a band playing bass with him, because we played in one band together that when I was playing bass, and he taught me a lot. I mean, even being a guitar player, it's like, hey, you're playing too much, back off, do this.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I know you play guitar and you're used to that, but play like this, and it really helped me a lot. I've learned a lot from knowing Colton. For
Awesome.
Sure.
So you guys are tuned into episode 273. We've done 273 of these shows already. Can't believe it. We're sitting here with Lance and Colton from Hill Country Revival. Very cool stuff. You guys are going to hear another song from them. This is going to be the upcoming single. Tell us a little bit about the song. Now, Lance, you wrote this one, right?
I did. I wrote it probably 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, and it's just one of those things. It was before actually we all got together and started playing Hill Country Revival, but I'd written it and just had it in my notebook, and one day I think we got to talking and we're like, we need an original song, and so I was like, I got this one, and I went through and like the first version of it was actually a little bit longer than the version that we're playing now, but just wrote it about it's actually I write songs using real characters sometimes, but fictional stories.
Absolutely.
So I kind of draw off that, but just it was kind of written about a friend of mine that really inspired me at the time when I was going through a lot of change and stuff.
That's cool. I really love the song. Again, it reminds me of like mid-90s country with a little bit of that classic Southern rock influence within it. That has to be pretty heavy in your influence list, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, growing up, you know, as a little kid, listening to Alan Jackson and, you know, all the great 90s country artists and stuff. I mean, I've actually really kind of gotten into a lot of Alan Jackson here lately, but, you know, just growing up and listening to that, I mean, it definitely influences you, I would say.
For sure. And we're excited to show you guys this song. It's called Drove Me Anywhere. It's live and unplugged here in the ETX ROCKS living room. And it's not out at radio yet, but when it is, we'll make sure that you guys know that it's out on radio so we can get y'all to request it as much as you can. Make sure you're streaming it on Spotify. That really helps out these artists as well. But check it out. It's live and unplugged here in the living room. It's called Drove Me Anywhere by Hill Country Revival.
Brown eyes sure drew me in. Her purple hair wasn't quite my style, oh, but I didn't care. She could have drove me anywhere. A little red car racing down A1A. Sunset painted sky, oh, but I didn't care. She could have drove me anywhere. My mind was racing, my heart was pounding. Well, as we set that flag top of fire, a little red streak and flashing blue lights. Oh, but I didn't care. She could have drove me anywhere. Boardwalk lights are glowing. We had those drinks flowing. Oh, but I didn't care. She could have drove me anywhere. have drove me anywhere.
So that was Drove Me Anywhere. Again, I hope you guys heard the same things I hear in that. And if you did, comment down below. Help me with my validation of myself. So that way I know what I'm hearing and can speak about it. Because a lot of times I don't know how to describe what I hear musically. Because I'm not a musician, so it's hard for me. So when I say 90s country, sometimes I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And I want to know if I'm wrong. So comment down below if I'm wrong. Help a brother out. We will be right back after this message from an independent artist. Y'all don't go anywhere.
Hey, my name is Brent Giddens. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
All right, once again, we are back. It's episode 273 featuring Hill Country Revival. Now, where can folks follow along with y'all if they're hearing about y'all for the first time?
We got a website, hillcountryrevival.com. We got Facebook and Instagram.
And it's at Hill Country Revival on both of those?
Yes.
And people can find your social media right there on the webpage?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hillcountryrevival.com. That's where you want to go. Is there a contact link on there for venues to get in contact with y'all if they want to book y'all?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So East Texas venues, I'm challenging y'all. Let's get these boys in town here. Let's bring that wall down. Also, I know you guys have music available digitally. So where would you send folks to get that? What's your go-to?
I mean, iTunes. You can buy our stuff on iTunes. We're on Spotify, YouTube. We've got a couple of music videos out. And then actually with Drove Me Anywhere, we're going to have a full-on music video for that, too.
Yeah.
We finished that up, man. That was a lot of fun making that. So.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. I want to show you right now, but I can't. You know what I mean? We did it with Katie McDowell, who we've also done our first music video for Wandering Song. She did that for us as well, and she's an amazing photographer and
let us know when it comes out. We'll share it and get the word out on that as well.
Awesome.
Just tag us in it, and we'll make sure we put it out on our stuff.
Okay.
Try to get more eyeballs on it. I know how important that is. So if you're a fan out there and you're liking what these guys are doing, make sure you're hitting that like or subscribe or follow button wherever whatever your favorite social media platform is. It's completely free to do that, and it's a big support to these artists to do that. Because labels and venues and all of these music industry folks are looking at social media following before they sign artists, before they book them at their venues, just things like that. And so just you hitting that like button helps these guys out. So let's do that. When the song is hitting radio, make sure you're calling your local radio stations to get them played on the radio, even if you live in Liechtenstein. That's a new one.
Where's Liechtenstein?
Liechtenstein is in Western Europe.
Oh, okay.
Right next to Germany.
Okay.
Kind of in that neighborhood. Also, if you're tuned into the ETX ROCKS Show for the first time, you can follow along with everything we have going on at ETX ROCKS. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The best way you can support us and our show, though, is hit the subscribe button on YouTube. That'll help us in more ways than you can know. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That's the best way you can support the show. And if wherever you're watching or listening, hit the like button. I know every single platform that we're on has a like button, so go ahead and do that. That'll help us out a lot. Also, guys, we just got on Spotify. Finally, after 2 years, the ETX ROCKS Show is finally on Spotify. Awesome. I had to get pictures of people's wives and things like that, and ransom letters. It was just a long process. We want to thank those folks over there on Spotify for letting us on the platform. Super excited about that because we've had a lot of artists on the show that actually have never been on Spotify before. And so as an artist, you know how being searchable is important.
Yeah.
So if you're not on Spotify, you don't have music on Spotify, you can come on our show and now you're on Spotify. It's pretty cool, man. Just seeing that, being able to, enter one of our shows and seeing it pop up on Spotify, really cool. So follow us on Spotify. That'll help us a lot. Please hit that follow button on Spotify. That'll help a lot. Also, we are completely self-funded on this show, which means we are low budget. Emphasis on the word low. Just because I'm tall doesn't mean we're not low budget. So we have set up a donate link for you folks out there that would like to help us stay on the air. And that's located at www.paypal.me/ETX ROCKS. And we'll take anything from 5 cents to $1,572.32. No pesos, though. We've already got enough pesos. You know pesos don't work in American soda machines?
I did not know that.
It's not cool at all.
It's not cool at all.
Wait, I mean, I didn't even know soda machines in the United States still took quarters. I see so many of them now. It's got like a card reader on it. You know what I mean? Especially in Austin, they're all over the
They have
place.
pool tables with card readers now.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
Never
not
seen that.
You know what's crazy? The first time I saw a pool table with a card reader, and it was probably about 10 years ago, too.
Really?
So it's been a while.
Wow.
They've been out for a while.
I did not know that.
Or you can just go to Cheatham Street to play pool, and they've got the side ripped off, and
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
kind of go up there and
Just pull the balls out
Yeah.
and place them up. Yeah.
They have duplicates of them, but
yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 8-balls, but yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's when you call the 16 ball in the corner pocket.
Yeah.
Doesn't work at all. So yeah, definitely help us out if you got $5 hanging around or change in your couch cushions. And I've been told to put in there that you're sending the money to family or friends. That way you don't have to pay any fees. Apparently there's different options there. So one of the options is send money to family and friends, and then you won't be charged a fee for donating. So help us out there. Artists out there, if you're watching the show, we have a brand new webpage. It's called www.etxrocks.show. Again, it's a .show, not .com. So keep that in mind. And the reason why I'm telling you artists about it is because we have a venue list on there. From what I understand, we may be the only people in the state that was stupid enough to put together a venue list. It took me over a month to put it together. Hopefully we'll get more from different areas of Texas too, so we can keep it growing and growing and growing. But if you're a musician out there that's trying to get out of your local home base area into other areas of Texas, that venue list could help you guys out a lot. The only thing I ask is if you find that the venue list has helped you in any way, drop a donation. That'll help us out. And I did spend a lot of time on that list, so definitely help a brother out there as well. We do have fees and stuff like that to keep our webpage open, to keep this on the air, and I'm just trying to keep our equipment upgraded. Like we just lost a lamp tree, so I'm going to have to replace that. Just little things like that that help the production of the show. Again, that's www.paypal.me/ETX ROCKS. So hook a brother up. And as we always say on the ETX ROCKS Show, we want to thank you guys out there for always supporting live music of all genres and all styles. And don't ever forget,
ETX rocks.
that's right. Thank
From
you.
the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX